become a SharePoint All Star. We're going to look at opportunities that you can harness within the community to team up, whether it be teaming up with samples or code or resources or people, all of which is available to you in the community to become a SharePoint All Star and deliver that championship SharePoint solution. All right, you're still seeing the screen, right? I think I saw something flip there. Okay, all right, good. All right, my name is David Warner. I work for Catapult Systems. I am a Microsoft MVP, a member of the PNP team. As you can see by all of the stuff behind me, this is not a Teams live background. This is a live background. All of these are real. So I'm a big sports fan, big Microsoft fan. You see that crossover occurring behind me, but I am even bigger community fan. I love collaborating with the community, encouraging, helping others to start contribute to the community, take advantage of all the resources that are available within the community. And so we're going to talk about what those are today and how you can put them to use in your organization. That's my Twitter account, as well as my email. And of course, I do a lot of vlogs and screenshot summaries and things like that to harness and promote the PNP community. All right, what's the agenda for today? So we're going to start out talking about technology challenges. We are in a world now where things are moving so fast in Microsoft 365 that it's hard to keep up. We used to, if we were working in SharePoint long enough, we remember the times of just the on-prem was all there was. We would make installations every 3 years. We would get a new version. Maybe we'd take 6 months to learn, would be good for 2.5, 3 years. And then that process kind of rinse, wash, repeated itself over the years. And it was a little easier. Maybe in the middle of that, we would get a Surface Pack, bring something new out, but it wasn't exactly changing continually throughout that process. So it was hard to keep up with those new features. Next, we're going to talk about the community support that's available to you. So we're going to focus predominantly on the Microsoft 365 patterns and practices community. We're going to talk briefly about the Valo partner community. If you're not a Valo customer, or you are, or you're thinking about it, want to at least kind of plug that as a positive for you. And then we're going to jump into some demos of PNP and Valo web parts. If you had used the classic instance of the content query web part in classic SharePoint, you may have been a big fan of it. I know I was, and I'll explain why later. It has been reborn as a PNP asset that you can go get, web part that you can utilize either on-prem or online, built in modern with React and available to all your modern sites. And we'll see how you can take advantage of that, all completely free. And then we're going to take a look at customization that Catapult made to the Valo Universal Web Part configuration. Configuration of a web part is very important because that's what empowers your users to be able to make quality content. And you want to empower your content authors to be able to do that with ease. And we'll take a look at how we were able to accomplish that. And then we're going to bring it all back together, and we're going to look at all those resources that are available to you for free today, how you can harness the power of the global team, the global community via the tools, events, and collaboration opportunities. All right, so let's talk about challenges. Well, the first and foremost is what I like to call feature upgrade fatigue. We may know it all too well, right? New things are coming out in the technology world for us within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem all too fast. It's changing. What we used to see changes in every 3 years, we are now seeing changes in sometimes months, weeks, days, hours. We're seeing new things come out. Sometimes within our organization, we're trying to roll out previous features and something new comes out and steamrolls what we were just trying to roll out, and it hasn't even been rolled out yet. Now we're having to absorb the awareness and the socialization of those new features, and our clients or our customers or our departments want those new features, and we're still trying to get the previous features out. And it can be exhausting and it can be hard to keep up with, and we're going to talk about some benefits that are going to help make that happen for you today. The next is technology growing pains. So it can be hard to keep up with those changes. You all likely have a full-time job trying to do your job. Now it may feel like you have another full-time job just trying to keep up with all the changes that are occurring within the landscape of Microsoft 365 and all the new features, the multiple streams of features and platforms and content. We've got Azure, we've got Microsoft 365, Power Automate, we just saw Vlad talking about in the previous session. You've got SPFX, you've got Power Platform. So many things are moving in their own streams so fast, and it can be hard to keep up with them. It can feel like it's a full-time job to accomplish just that. So we're going to talk about how we can help you there in the community as well. And to couple all this together, you may be on a small team. You may have team size constraints. You may find yourself maybe on a team of one. Maybe you are the team within your organization. And now you're having to keep up with the technology that's changing. You're having to roll out features. You're having to learn the new technology that's coming while you're rolling it out. You have to do your full-time job, and you just wish that you could have a break. You wish that maybe you could have another teammate there to help you. That may not happen for you in your organization, but it can happen in the community. And again, we're going to talk about how you can take advantage of that. All right, so what are the two things we're going to focus on today? The first and primary is the Microsoft 365 Patterns and Practices community. Now, this is a global community of contributors and supporters. It provides learning and education. It provides collaboration opportunities with the contributors to this community, all of which is available to you for free. There's no cost other than your time, which we already know we're having to spend to help keep up. The next area we're going to look at is the Valo partner community. We're just going to touch on this briefly, but this is a supportive partner structure. That's what we appreciate as partners of Valo with Catapult, is we're not really in this Mad Max kind of competitive arena with other partners. We actually collaborate with them. We help each other out. When we can't fix something, we actually have a Yammer thread to be able to discuss with one another, and that's rare with partners these days with any particular or any specific software vendor. And this leads to increased velocity of new features. Valo benefits by it, and by way we benefit by it, by way our customers benefit by it. So it's a very collaborative and synergistic experience within the Valo ecosystem. So it's worth noting if you're thinking about either becoming a Valo customer or a Valo partner. Okay, let's start with the Microsoft 365 Patterns and Practices. What is Microsoft 365 PNP? Well, it's a Microsoft-started initiative to support collaboration and access to open source software and tools to enhance the Microsoft 365 experience. Whew, that's a mouthful. What does that mean? Well, it is a group of passionate individuals in the community that were brought together to support the rest of the community. For many who are on the PNP team, our jobs are simple. Make your jobs better and easier. We want to collaborate with you. We want to empower you to do more with less in your organization. And all of this is done via open source software and tools, resources available to you, again, all for free. Who is Microsoft 365? Well, PNP. It's a collection, as I mentioned, of Microsoft employees, MVPs, and global contributors. And we'll see a quick peek at that on the next slide. And where is Microsoft 365 PNP? This may sound like a "Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego" skit, but it's everywhere. Microsoft 365 PNP is everywhere. It is global. All around the world, there are contributors in every country, every continent, and you can be one of them as well. And we'll see a unique opportunity on how you can take advantage of that. The one place to learn a little bit more about that is at aka.ms/M365PNP. Now, there's a dedicated site that tells you and gives you information about the PNP, and I'll bring it up here. You can go there. It is hosted by GitHub, where all of our repositories are available. This is a fairly new site. You can see we're affectionate for our Parker mascot, who is available in many ways and shapes and forms, and I know I've done them in very costume-like experiences for different sessions, and it is a lovable mascot for us to be able to latch onto. But what this site will provide to you is all you need to take advantage of the PNP community. It starts out with the community calls, which we'll dive into again on a further slide, but it gives you access to the ability to join directly to them via Teams. You can download a calendar invite to be reminded of these events that occur. And we're going to talk in depth about these because these are by far the most valuable thing to you if you have trouble keeping up with the community. As we roll down, we've got guidance available to you. There's a Sharing is Caring initiative where it provides you assistance and hands-on guidance on how you can contribute. If you're not a dev and you want to contribute, or you just want to consume better practices, the Microsoft 365 community content or community docs can help you there. There are watch opportunities on YouTube. Tons of videos are being created and have been created for you to be able to learn and are continuing to be created. We just launched one today that we'll tell you a little bit about in a few minutes. And as you can see, we're even passionate about showing off our passion. There is a Parker's Place store that has gear you can purchase with the different projects from PNP. Now, this is not a for-profit initiative. These are things that allow you to show off where your passion is within the community, and 100% of the proceeds go to code.org to support underprivileged kids who are wanting to get more into development but don't have the resources to do that. So it's an excellent opportunity to help out. Now, there are other samples and solutions we're going to go through. We see there are framework SPFX extensions available. There are SPFX web parts available, column and view formatting, the lookbook, which we're all likely familiar with, Team Sample as library components, PNP Search, SharePoint Starter Kit, which just released V2 of officially today. So take advantage of all those. We'll talk about a couple of them. The new Teams Yeoman Teams generator, the SPFX Yeoman generator, all of these things are PNP projects and available to you. The Office 365 CLI, which is the command line interface for administering your SharePoint tenancy and your Office 365 tenancy, is available to you. And of course, the PNP PowerShell commandlets. Everyone is familiar with those and uses them heavily. I just saw Erwin, the grandfather of PNP, who said that there are over 1 billion requests a month on them, which is fantastic. And of course, the team, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes, and what's the support around open source. And it talks about it. Now, all of this is available to you for free. So we're going to see how you can take advantage of and what are some of the tools you can take advantage of within this community. All right, so who is the team? Meet the team. It's 26 Microsoft employees and MVPs. These are the core team individuals who are responsible for ensuring that we always have beneficial content for you, useful tools, resources, giving you opportunities to contribute and consume and take advantage of all the resources that are available. But that's not all. That may be the core team, but the team really, the PNP community is made up of over 1,300 plus worldwide contributors. 1,300 plus. Think about that. Because in the days of old, when we would all work within our little siloed areas and we created something cool, what did we do? We kind of stuck it up our sleeve, didn't we? We didn't want to show anybody. We wanted to keep it secret. We wanted to make sure that we always had it available. It was our ace in the hole. And when we went into a client, we wanted to show them exactly what we had that no one else had. All gone. All that mindset is gone with the PNP community. It's all about sharing is caring. These are 1,300 plus worldwide contributors who have spent their own time to build components and samples and documentation to give away for free. Powerful, powerful stuff. And how does that all add up? What does it look like when we take a look at a higher level? Well, it ends up being over 500 samples, as you can see in the upper left here, over 1,300 contributors to GitHub, as we had mentioned it before. It's led to 80,000 visitors in the past 2 weeks to the GitHub repositories where you're going to find all these samples and tools. Over 47,000 tenants are using the open source components each month, and some of the component usage of the PNP is amazing, to the point where we're seeing 6,000 requests per second. 6,000 requests per second. Think about that for a minute. And since I said that, how many thousands of requests has occurred? It's fantastic. 2.8 million watch time minutes in YouTube available in the last 365 days. It means that we're wanting to learn, and there is an opportunity there to consume. But one of the most popular and powerful statistics on this slide is that it was awarded internally at Microsoft as the model, the reference model for community engagement. This is a big deal because, as you may remember, if you've been in the PNP community for a while or been around it, it wasn't always the Microsoft 365 patterns and practices, it was SharePoint patterns and practices. But it's grown so much in so many ways that supporting the Microsoft 365 ecosystem well beyond just SharePoint, it's become the Microsoft 365 patterns and practices. And this is really just the beginning. We're going to see the growth model here continue with that curve in an amazing way, and you can be a part of it. So what are some of the things that are available to you? All right, development projects, samples and tools, learning and education, and my favorite, collaboration and contribution. So let's start with the development projects. We're just going to briefly go through these, and we're going to look in detail at a couple of them. PNP.js. If any of us have ever used jQuery as developers, you know, there's more mature things now, but when it came out and when it was available, it was popular, and we may still use it. It's useful. If it fits the mold for what you need, then it fits the mold and you're able to use it. Think of PnP.js, what jQuery was to JavaScript. PnP.js is to connecting to SharePoint within your SharePoint framework solutions for things such as getting list data, graph data, posting to your lists, and writing back and forth between your lists and your libraries. And we're going to take a closer look at PnP.js and see exactly how you can harness and take advantage of it. But think of it as that shortcut to simplifying some of that API coding that would have normally been extremely verbose and lengthy for you to have to deal with. The next that we're going to look into detail as is the Office 365 CLI. This is likely going to be renamed soon. We've talked about that on the PnP calls because we're becoming more of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. But this is a platform independent, OS independent tool that you can take advantage of to do things like administering your Office 365 tenancy. There are two specific benefits we're going to look at to get together today that it provides you. But again, if you're on a Mac or in Linux and you're thinking all of that PowerShell goodness you see everybody always talking about is only available within PowerShell, think again. Office 365 CLI is available there to give you some benefits that you may have never even thought possible before. Of course, there's PNP PowerShell, though, extremely powerful, popular, useful, and available there. And we're looking to get more contributors to help out there. Erwin has had some recent meetings, so you have an opportunity there as well. Yo Teams is the newest kid on the block. It's the Yo Teams Yeoman Generator. A brand new package of videos and training modules just went out yesterday and are available to you for free to go check out. 10 videos in total with other supporting assets available to take advantage of and learn how you can do Teams development using the Yo Teams Yeoman Generator. And last but not least, the SPFX Yeoman Generator. Now, this is a Yeoman Generator that's built on top of the out-of-the-box Yeoman Generator, but gives you so much more when you scaffold out your controls and your components. It allows you to include things like Vue.js and jQuery and other beneficial tools that you may have to add manually if you're using the out-of-the-box. And again, this is built on top of that out-of-the-box. So it's not some rogue little piece of software that's not supported. It is fully endorsed by PNP and utilizes that out-of-the-box Yeoman Generator. So let's dive into a couple of these first and take a look and see what advantages they provide us. So PnP.js. Version 2 just recently came out, but it is a control that, or a package of library components and tools within SharePoint Framework that you can utilize for IntelliSense and type checking. It provides, simplifies your development experience. It's a fluent library that's intuitive. As you can see in the screenshots here, it provides you a simple way to interface and access your SharePoint information. So things like sp.web.list.getByTitle, .items.select. It doesn't get any simpler than that. We talked about how it's comparative to jQuery. We've seen that kind of a mentality and use case within jQuery, and then it gives us that access. It's asynchronous. It's built on promises. It's got built-in caching, which is amazing because let's face it, some of our list data isn't changing by the minute, by the hour, by the day. And so we can set up session storage or local storage or whatever makes the most sense for our organization to make the most effective use of that opportunity to pull that SharePoint list data back. Version 2 has come out with selective imports. So while in version 1, you had to take the whole package of PnP.js with you when you were going to use it, even if you were using just a small little module of it. Now you can do it independently. You can selectively import just individual items that are available to you that you want to use, like just simple list access information. All right, you get there aka.ms.pnp or /PnP.js, but let's take a quick look at how you would access it here. That URL will land you on this page right here. The documentation is provided to you. You can see a little animated GIF that shows you how simple it is to start using it to access some of your SharePoint data. You can see it doing the typing. It's got the IntelliSense. It provides information and helpful tips to understand exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Now, the getting started is right here. It shows you exactly how to get installed. So when you're on the landing page, right there, you are able to get to the immediate documentation. Whether you're transitioning, maybe you used PnP.js version 1 in the past and you need to transition to version 2, perhaps you're just getting started with PnP.js version 2 out of the box. This getting started will provide you all the information you need to install it using your npm installer, how you can import it, getting started with the SharePoint framework, establishing context, and accessing all that information as you need it. The selective imports I had mentioned is also all documented here with the new library concepts, so you're able to custom bundle. You can create extensions to supplement the information or the functionality that's available within PnP.js if you need something unique. And all of these things are available in video form as well. We've provided with V2 samples on how to take advantage of it, as well as videos that show how to utilize it and put it into practice. You can see here selective import shows the old way. And now we have a new way. We're able to just simply harness exactly what it is that we need. Say, for example, all we need is the web and the list data. We don't need the extra graph. We don't need anything else. And so we're able to pull in that information independently. And we can see how to do that within SP right here. So come to PnP.js if you do any amount of development that requires any degree of SharePoint list information. Do not miss out on this. This is one of those projects where you may see us throw out the statistics every once in a while. I believe the most recent was over 8 billion requests in a month. 8 billion requests in a single month utilizing PnP.js. So take advantage of it. It is there for you. It is free. And it is by far the best way as a SharePoint framework developer to access SharePoint data. Okay, all right, PnP.js. Now, Office 365 CLI command line interface. This allows you to administer and manage your Office 365 tenant through, as you can see, what is a command line interface. It is OS independent. That means if you're on a Mac, you're not left out in the cold. If you're on Linux, you're not left out on the cold. If you're on Windows, you still get included. We didn't exclude you just because PowerShell did. So you are included. Everyone can take advantage of this particular opportunity here. It has two extremely amazing features. Now, there are so many features that are available, but the two that we're going to highlight is SPFX project upgrade guidance with code tour support, and the fact that it's got a new feature called SP Doctor, and we'll show an example of that. It is also compatible with Docker. So there's been a lot of use of Docker recently, which is like a virtual machine to run different instances of SharePoint and the SharePoint framework in an isolated VM. This is compatible with Docker. If you want a variety of versions available of your CLI with a variety of versions of SPFX, you can do that within Docker as well as in VM, which is another management tool. So let's go over and take a look at the command line interface. This is where you will land if you use that short URL. And it provides you information on how to take advantage of it. Installation, you'll notice a lot of this is very similar to what you saw in PnP.js. Consistency is important, so we want to ensure that you're able to take advantage of the projects that are available within the ecosystem and the community in a very repeatable way. And so this is how you would go ahead and install it. You would do a global install of the 365 CLI, and then you can just immediately start using it to do a variety of things within your tenancy. Now, the first one we're going to look at is project upgrade. So if you come up to the search bar and you just type in project upgrade, you're going to see there's an SPFX project upgrade feature here. Now, what this does, if you've ever had to upgrade a version of your SharePoint framework components in the past, maybe it's been a while. Maybe you're going from 1.4.1 to 1.10. Or maybe you're going from somewhere newer, 1.8, 1.9.1 to 1.10. It doesn't matter really how far away or how close you are. That experience is painful because now you're having to go in and you're having to compare the release notes. What's changed? Sometimes it may just feel like it's easier to simply start over. Let me just copy and paste the logic to a brand new scaffolded version 1.10 of my web part or my extension. You don't have to do that. The SPFX project upgrade command within the Office 365 CLI will provide you with a report that shows all of the steps necessary to get you from a specific version to a specific version. So if you're going from 1.9.1 to 1.10, 1.10, it will provide you everything you need to do that. And a new feature that's been added by the team, Hugo Bernier, another MVP on the PNP team, is called the code tour. And this will walk you through step by step on what it is that you need to do, helping you keep track. Sometimes those reports get lengthy, and it can be hard to keep track within the report where you are needing to make a PowerShell command update or change your code. And this analyzes your code. This is not just analyzing the changes that need to be made to the overall architecture of SPFX. This analyzes your code. It doesn't make the changes for you, mind you. It will tell you the changes that need to be made. And it will give you a line-by-line report. And going through that can sometimes be hard to keep track of where you're at in that process. But the code tour will assist you in doing that. Now, the other feature that I want to highlight is the SPFX doctor command. A lot of us are working in multiple versions. Maybe if we're consultants, we're working for a variety of clients, and that can mean a lot of versions of SPFX. We may use something like NVM or Docker to run multiple versions, and it can be hard to keep track of, wait, do I have all of the right stuff that I need to develop under 110 or 191 installed on my machine? SPFX Doctor will provide you with that information. You can run it, and it will simply let you know if the information and the installation that you have is accurate. Verifies that your environment meets the requirements to work with SharePoint Framework. So take advantage of it. It is extremely powerful, 100% free, and I encourage you to use it as much as you can. All right. Next, samples and tools. There are SPFX web parts, extensions, library components, and list formatting definitions available for you to take advantage of. Now, there are huge libraries that are available to you here. So let's take a quick look at them. They are available right here. So if you go to any one of those particular URLs, they're going to land you on a page that looks similar to this. Now, this is the web part samples, but there are, let me see, a growing number. I don't remember the exact number offhand. I should have checked that. I apologize. But a growing number of samples, growing every single day. We have new contributions coming in that show a variety of things off on how you can take advantage of the items and the resources that are available. Accordion web parts, carousel. Now, what's cool about these pages is that you can browse by a number of metrics here that we see. We've got by framework. Well, I want to see everything that uses jQuery. You mentioned we talk about that, we use that. Maybe we're React developers and we want to see samples that are available to us via React. Here's an advanced or enhanced list formatting example that we could take advantage of, and a web part that allows us to enhance our list formatting with custom CSS. Extremely powerful things here. Now, some of these are samples that show off a concept. Some of them are fully fledged, production-worthy and ready solutions for you to utilize, and we're going to take a look at one. But you can look by compatibility, SharePoint Online 2019, by SPFX version, and these are all available. These are all available to us for free. Every single one of these, they can be downloaded. Now, you don't necessarily get any Microsoft support from them. They are supported by way of the community, but there is an issues list that is on these repos that allow you to post questions, and you can go in and take advantage of those, and you can even contribute back. So if I were to right click on this little link right up here in the upper right, I'm going to open that in a new tab, and that's going to take you to the more intimidating GitHub behind the scenes look. But we can see that there is an issues list where you can provide questions to using these samples. And if you would like to even contribute, you can look for things like good first issue or help wanted available to be able to help out. So again, we'll talk about how you can take advantage of that. The list formatting is also available to you. So we look for you to take advantage of that. Don't have time to demo all of that right now, but we might at the end if we're doing good on time. All right, well, at this point you may be saying, David, that is a lot of stuff. You were supposed to make my life easier, not more complex. Now, instead of trying to keep up with everything that Microsoft has, all you've done is give me more stuff to keep track of. And it may seem like that, but that's not the truth. What we have for you is learning and education and collaboration and contribution. Every single week, there is a PNP community call. Now, every other week, the theme changes. So essentially, you've got general development. The next Thursday, you've got SPFX. followed by general development and SPFX. So we've got 2 themed meetings that are available for you to join. Each and every other week, they swap the theme. They include things like community sample demos, new features, demos, and announcements. You can get to them on that AKA M365 PNP, but if you use the hashtag community, that will take you directly to where all those community calls are at. This is by far the most valuable piece for you to be aware of. Why do I say that? With all those tools that are free that could accelerate your development for a client or an internal project, why is this the most valuable and important thing? I call it a crystal ball into the future of SharePoint. On this call, you are going to see things like the roadmaps, the new features. You're going to have Microsoft employees joining to give demos of brand new things just announced at Ignite or other various events. You're going to see new demos by Vesa and the PNP team showing off new things that have been released. We talked about it's hard to keep up with the changes. If you put this on your calendar, it will make it easier. Try to join it if you can. If not, they're recorded and available to you for free after the fact. I attend every one and take screenshots, provide a screenshot summary. Maybe you just need a, too long, didn't read kind of thing that you need to be able to reference later. You have 5 minutes, you want to see what's changed. You can scan those screenshots and get the benefit of still having an idea of what's happened. But if you can put these on your calendar and attend, I promise you will not regret it. This is by far the most valuable. Like I said, it will help you keep up with the changes because you'll see the changes, you'll see the demo, you'll see what's coming before it happens because you'll see previews on these calls. So make time for it. As mentioned, they're all recorded, as well as all of the other tutorials that we do within the PNP are recorded and put out at the aka.ms spdev videos URL, and that will take you to the YouTube channel. All right, collaboration and contribution. We have an initiative called Sharing is Caring. Now, you may be passionate about consuming these, and you may eventually get to the point where you see an opportunity to improve what it is that you're consuming, whether that be documentation, whether that be code, whether that be updating an existing sample. You may find yourself intimidated on how to do that, though. Well, with the Sharing is Caring initiative, we will provide you hands-on personal guidance sessions that provide you step-by-step contribution opportunities. So what does that mean? It means that we schedule regular sessions that you can attend, and we're going to have ready for you a literal hands-on session that's going to walk you through hand in hand on how to make that contribution and how to start giving back to the community that you likely have been consuming from for so long. What's cool is that on those PNP calls, the monthly call, we give a shout out to all the contributors from the previous month. You get credit for that. When you attend a Sharing is Caring initiative, you will get your name on that slide as a contributor. And what's better, your company can have their logo on the thank you slide for the companies that allow their employees to contribute. It's free advertising. And your company may not give you that right away. I encourage you to offer it to them because they may start seeing the value of being included into this collection of companies that are supporting such an awesome open source initiative. And they may then start giving you time within the work day to take advantage of contributing to this cause. aka.ms, Sharing is Caring. In addition to that, you may find that when you start creating and contributing, you want to show it off. You want to show everyone in the community what you've built, but you might be a little nervous. They say that some people are more afraid of public speaking than they are death. Well, you don't have to worry about it. We don't want you to die. We want you to show it off. And we've started what's called the buddy system. It's going to team you up with an experienced presenter in the PNP team or in the community, and you're going to work together to create your sample or ready your sample for a presentation and create a presentation together. There are other MVPs that are assisting in this area as well, and then you're going to present it together on a PNP call and show off the magic that you've created and that you want to share with the community. aka.ms/Sharing is Caring is where you can also find that. If we go right here, I've got that URL open right there. This is where that URL will land you at, talks about the initiative. Right here is where we're always going to be showing the next available sessions that are available to you. You see that there is a community doc session starting tomorrow and Monday, still time to register for it. If you would like to attend it and you've registered and attended one of the first time contributor sessions, you're eligible to join that session. So we encourage you to do that if you are available. If not, don't worry, we're going to have more sessions. And this is a perfect opportunity for those who are not devs maybe that want to contribute back, doing some documentation and showing those better practices. So take advantage of that. And then of course, the buddy system right here is available to you, and a form for you to fill out if you would like to be included and take advantage of that as well. Okay, now what's next? The Valo community. Again, I don't want this to feel like a sales pitch, so we're not going to touch on this too deeply, but it is a community that does exist and is very collaborative and works together. It is not aggressive and competitive like you may see some partner communities. There are partner community calls, collaborative Yammer conversations. So if you are ever thinking about becoming a partner or a customer, then you're going to be able to take advantage of those kinds of communities within Valo as well. Okay, we have had a lot of slides. So hopefully I've not killed you by PowerPoint yet, but it's time to jump into some demos. What is available to you in the community? One of the things that I am most excited about is the modern React content query web part. Now this is a content query web part that was built or rebuilt, if you will, for the community and the modern SharePoint world. It was just recently upgraded by 3 MVPs, so it's current on 1.10 and provides some new additional support that you can take advantage of. But at its core, if you ever use the content query web part in the classic world, it was powerful because it allowed your users or your content authors that had to administer a web part to easily do things like scoping the list, filtering, sorting, all of those kinds of things. Grouping was very easy to do, and it was repeatable for them. And so they could learn how to do it once, and they could rinse, wash, repeat on multiple pages and experiences. Well, it had a lot of shortcomings. One, it was not cross-site collection compatible, right? This one is cross-site collection compatible. Very cool. In the old classic world, you had to use XSL. Now, I don't know about you, very few people I've ever talked to love XSL. I learned to love it because it was a gateway to me being able to write my content to the screen and then use JavaScript. In sort of a pre-SPFX world, I would use JavaScript to read the data that I wrote to the DOM using XSL and then do the actual work I would do, similar to how SPFX works today. But who knew XSL? Who loved it? Very few people. I once interviewed someone and said, "Are you experienced with XSL?" And they said, "Yes, I use Microsoft Excel all the time." Okay, maybe something else, right? Probably ended the interview at that point. But we can see that nobody really knew what XSL was. It was hard to use. Now we don't have to worry about it anymore. We have handlebar template support. And you may not be familiar with handlebar templates. Very simple, allows you to harness the power of HTML with JavaScript in a way that lets you control the output and the look and feel of your web part. You can get to the web part by going to this short URL, pnpcqwp.m365.ms, but we're going to show you as well. So if you were to come back into that browser, you can come and click on all, and you can just do a browser-based search right here for content query, and we can see that it is available here. There is an online and an on-premises version available to you. When you go to that, it's going to take you to the React Content Query web part, and you can take advantage of downloading this project if you would like, and compiling it or transpiling it and packaging it up and putting it out in your environment. Completely available to you, and you can see that it's made up of some READMEs and all of that. Now, what do you get with this? Well, we're going to show you a demo. So, setting the context for this page, we are using a very simple list that identifies an FAQ. We've got a question and an answer. These are just the simple 3 questions that we covered previous in the slides. Question and answer, and we can click on each one, expand, collapse, a very simple accordion, something that might be utilized in a variety of ways, useful in a variety of ways, but we want to go ahead and take advantage of it within a handlebar template. So Within this content query web part, I've already pre-configured it. So if we open it, it starts out at the top in a very familiar way. If we've ever used the classic content query web part, we identify the site. Remember, we didn't really have to do this in the classic world because we couldn't go cross-site collection. We were simply just looking at the current site or all subsites. Well, now we can look across our site collections within our tenancy, which is fantastic. The web URL, our list, which in this case is generic FAQ, and then we can go down to the sort and filter. So we can sort by, we can filter, we can search within folders, we can do our filtering down here and add as many filters as we want within that filter and sort, and close the source. And then we come into the layout, and this is where we decide what fields that we want to display. So we can scroll through and see all the different columns available to us. Now, this is a simple sample. So in this case, we're using a response and a title. Title is the question, response is the answer. And we pre-selected those two things. And what that will do for us is it will actually build for us a dynamic handlebar template that displays that information. And that's editable and visible here in this template content, right? Now, that's not necessarily what we want to use because it looks very devy and it doesn't provide a lot of value. It certainly doesn't provide the interactive experience that we're seeing with the frequently asked questions right here. So we'll cancel out and just know that it's available to us. The real power here comes from the ability to assign a custom handlebar template. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm looking in a style library folder called Valo Fest, and I'm using a file called fuseaccordion.html. That's the first half of our handlebar template. We'll take a look at that and see what that looks like. And then we can also reference external code. So in this case, we're using simple jQuery to keep the sample simple. And then we're using a helper file of JS here that includes handlebar template helpers, and we'll take a look at what that looks like as well. Now, typically you may say, well, okay, that's in a style library. I am a developer. I know I can access that through the browser, but there's something icky that feels about, right? I don't want to do code development within a browser window. It just, something feels wrong. I need to use a real editor, right? VS Code, I want to use it. But how do you tap into that with VS Code without downloading the sample and then changing it and re-uploading it? In the old world, I know we would use, and it's a dirty word, SharePoint Designer. Oh, it was horrible. We all want to see it die, right? But it was useful for being able to tap into JavaScript and CSS, click Control S, save it, see that rendered immediately in the browser, refresh, rinse, wash, repeat. We were able to make our changes. The development process was simple, but the experience was horrible. Well, now with VS Code, we can actually access our SharePoint utilities and assets directly within VS Code using a plugin called SP-Go. And I'm not going to get too in depth on that. But if you do want to connect to SharePoint, which works with Classic and Modern, you can come to your extensions right here within VS Code, and you can do a search on SP-Go. And what you're going to find is an extension you can install that will let you connect directly and download your JavaScript files and CSS files and save them automatically back to your server. And so that's what the experience we're going to do today. I have here are downloaded, as you can see, source, which stands for my source files, style library, and Valo Fest. I've pointed my SP-Go JSON right there to those files. We won't show that for brevity today, but I've got a video that you can watch that takes advantage of how to do that. But within that are my two files. We see that accordion and we see that JS. Now let me upsize that a little bit. And this is very simple. All we really have at this point is some text classes, right, that we're taking advantage of. And this is the HTML output, where we used to have to do this within XSL in a very ugly way. Now we're able to take advantage of using these handlebar templates. We can iterate through our list items right there using the each items handlebar template opportunity, and we can write out our custom HTML. And if we need additional functionality, such as being able to click that expand collapse feature, we have on pre-render and on post-render functionality we can take advantage of. We have handlebar templates. We can register handlebar templates, as we can see here. Now, this is a little intimidating, but really behind the scenes, all this is JavaScript, right? So we're connecting our file here by way of our namespace up here to the name of our handlebar template. And now within our handlebar template, we're able to take advantage of calling these things like this particular safe string. We're able to utilize that within our, we see that right there, within our handlebar template. We are calling that to do some JavaScript work right there with the title and the raw value of our list item. And so you're able to call it in a very familiar way and take advantage of that opportunity for JavaScript. And then we're just, again, very simple. This may not be the best way to accomplish it, but it is registering a click event and assigning the slide toggle. A very simple sample, didn't want to overcomplicate it with something to get the point across, but that gives us that opportunity to now have that expand collapse experience. Very simple. All of this is being done completely supported within Microsoft and SharePoint because we own the HTML that's being output. You don't have to be an SPFX developer even to take advantage of this. You have to know some HTML and CSS and be able to understand how to connect the dots like I've just showed you. So super, super powerful. Go take advantage of that. PNP CQWP.m365.ms will land you on that page. All right, here are some more useful links. SPGo, if you would like to take advantage of that, spgo.m365.ms will take you to the website, the VS Code extension store, where you can take advantage of installing that on your machine and utilize that. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. And then, of course, the modern React content query web part. All right. I want to show a quick demo on the Valo Universal web part because I am very passionate about empowering your content authors to do what they do best, and that's build content. How can we empower them to do that without feeling like they need a degree in HTML development or CSS or JavaScript? Well, what we've done within the Valo Universal web part, which you can kind of think of it as the content query web part for Valo, right? It provides you the opportunity to connect to a data source like a SharePoint list. And then you can enhance that universal web part or extend it to provide additional configuration options. In fact, you can even provide a web part level parameter list that is dynamic, meaning that you can change things at the web part level. Then if you want to get even further into the SPFX, you can provide a custom data source and do some custom styling within that data source panel. So what does that look like? Well, here is the first version of it. You'll notice it looks almost identical to the content query web part, but there's some behind the scenes feature-rich opportunities for us to provide configuration. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to show you that we have a data source that we've identified here called accordion. And what this data source results in is the ability to say, I'm going to look at the current web. I want to look at the list FAQs. I want to look at the list view all items. And here I'm able to dynamically associate what connects to what. So we got that title, which is the question, going into the header column. The body column is the response, as we saw from the list. And now if we go into the template configuration, we can also do things like change the color. Well, okay, it's blue by default. So now using this out of the box template parameters feature of Valo, I can go ahead and type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Sometimes even if you're used to hex values in the colors, you still have to do a count to get it right. I'm going to click save. I'm going to click apply. And now we see this has been changed from blue to black. And that's a cool feature. I'm able to control that. I'm able to provide the users and the content authors the ability to do that kind of a style change. But let's face it, this feature right here isn't the most sexy. It's not the most comfortable. It's not the most what we're used to when we see out of the box web parts. We see color pickers and toggleable controls. We want to take advantage of understanding that muscle memory that we're used to. That's where extending the data source comes in with the SharePoint framework. So I'm going to switch over to another tab, has the exact same web part. I'm going to edit it and show you how we've taken advantage of providing that opportunity to our clients. So now we've got that same thing. We're using our data source accordion dog food because we eat our own dog food, and we're identifying the web, the FAQ, the list, the title, the response. But now, instead of all that information living in that Excel-like experience that we saw, now we've provided a much more feature-rich opportunity to identify it. If I want to collapse the layout, if I want to provide scrolling, if I want to change the header color, now instead of having to go check what that hex value is, I actually want to go ahead and click the color myself. So I can do that. Okay, cool. I've got some red here. And of course, I mean, I love the Valo pink, but you know, I got to go with the purple and orange. So I'm going to go ahead and select that as the header color, hit apply, we see it refresh, and now I've got my purple header colors. But wait, there's more, because the question may be, well, what if my clients don't want that? You've built that into SPFX. It's now part of the data source. What if they want to hard code the color? It's a corporate policy, or maybe they want to inherit the theme. They don't want to give their users the ability to change that. Absolutely, that can be done in the handlebar template. You can enforce a specific color in that handlebar template that lives behind the scenes, that runs the universal web part, much like the content query web part HTML we saw. But what happens to this? Are they still going to see that color picker? Is that confusing? Absolutely, it's confusing. You don't want to see it if you're not going to make it do anything. Well, inside of the template configuration, we're flipping the switch. Instead of using the template parameters to identify those colors, we're using the template parameters to identify the display property of those controls. So now I want to take away the ability to set those colors. I come into the template parameters, I set enable custom colors from true to false. I hit save, we'll close that up. I hit apply, and notice what's gone down here. No more custom colors, none. So now on a page by page, web part by web part basis, you're able to actually provide a custom experience for your content authors and not confuse them with features that are maybe not going to be applicable to the scenario that they're in. Very, very cool feature. All right, what is next? We have about 5 minutes left, so I just want to briefly come back to the SharePoint PNP. If you're not familiar with list formatting, I encourage you to take a deeper look at it. It is the ability, and it's new. We saw the new lists feature, the standalone list feature that was just debuted recently. It provides you the ability to do list formatting and turn the list into something beautiful. There's 2 flavors of it, column formatting and view formatting. If you're familiar with SharePoint lists, you know a column is just a simple column, like we see within Excel, a column of data. You can change the look and feel of that column to do something else and look like something else, to even function like something else. In view formatting, you take that entire row and change the look and feel of it. What does that mean? What does that result in? Here's an out-of-the-box list. We've got some community contributors here, Chris, Bo, and Sebastian. Here's their Twitter information. We're all familiar with that, basic information. How can we take column formatting and make it different? Well, here we are taking that Twitter, we're using their handles, right, their user IDs, and we're writing some simple list formatting definitions that allow us to change the look. We're pulling in their Twitter profile picture now and displaying that. And maybe that's not good enough. Maybe we want to make it a hyperlink. You can create that pseudo functionality available to you in column formatting that you can now make it a clickable event, and it never was. All it ever was right here was just their username. But we know that Twitter has a very repeatable and URL that allows us to combine usernames with a specific prefix and see exactly what that looks like. View formatting, we can now take the information in a particular list. This list happens to include what state and country they live in, and we're able to show that by tapping in to a pseudo API from Google to display that information. So list formatting provides you the opportunity to enhance the display of a single column. View formatting gives you the opportunity to take advantage of overwriting the entire list. And all that information is available, was seen in a previous slide where we talked about right here, list formatting definition samples. So if you go there, you're going to find a sample site exactly like we saw with PnP.js and the CLI on how you can take advantage of hundreds of samples that are available to you to utilize within your organization and empower you. All right, we have no time left. So I wanted to provide you with some useful links. Please, please, please go visit aka.ms, MS365 PNP. If you would like to contribute, please go visit Sharing is Caring. If you have any questions about the community or you'd like to know how you can get involved, don't hesitate to reach out to me or any of the PNP team members. There's my Twitter, there's my email. And you may be new to the community and looking to try to see who to follow, who to get involved with. I've started a campaign called M365.social that includes a number of community contributors who are very social, very willing to interact with the community. Don't hesitate to go to this site, M365.social, see some of the people, start following them. It includes their blog URLs and opportunities for you to start collaborating with them. Twitter is definitely the place to be if you want to interact. Thank you all for your time today, and I am available for any questions, but I do want to give time to our next speaker. So feel free to hit me up in the community. Look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Always very passionate. I love it. So there's no doubt about it. Good stuff. One question while Perry is able to start setting in, that Mark Cashman showed us the Microsoft lists this in the morning today, and now and there are built-in capabilities regarding view formatting and list formatting. What will happen if now we do what you described and then Microsoft comes with all cool features, which will run over?
So list formatting is completely supported. So if we inject our own list formatting definition, they are not going to break that, right? We are identifying what we want that list formatting experience to look like. So you're able to write all that HTML out, display it how you want it to look, and upgrades happen, bugs happen, right? Some things may get broken here or there, but the intent is to not override what we've created. And in fact, one of the cooler things you can do with that is the lists web part within SharePoint allows you to utilize those list formatting definitions. So you combine all of those onto a page, you've got a custom page that's made up of nothing but the lists web part and list formatting definitions. No one would even know it's not a full-on development effort.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Fantastic
Thank you.
job. And you got David's contact. The session will be there online as well for the future reference. So feel free to contact us, David asked, and